guys, thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Jacqueline. I am a corporate flight attendant and I've been in corporate aviation for about a year now. Before that, I was a commercial flight attendant for about 5 years. So if you are new to my channel, that is what I do. If you are returning, thank you very much for coming by again. So as I said, I am now 1 year into commercial flying, and 6 months ago I had made a vlog called my 6-month check-in. And I've talked about all the new experiences that I've had since I've started in corporate aviation, and I've also talked about how life has been different from the commercial side that I had done for so long. 6 months ago, I had asked you guys if you were interested in me making another video when the 1 year mark hit. And here we are, and you said yes, and so that is what this video is about today. So I guess I'm just gonna get into it right away. There has been a huge shift on how I see myself working in corporate aviation compared to what it was 6 months ago. So 6 months ago, I said I kind of feel more like a glorified waitress working in this fancy restaurant in the sky than I did a flight attendant. Well, I can tell you, I'm still serving amazing food in a wonderful restaurant in the sky, but I no longer feel like a glorified waitress. So most of my flights have been for businessmen and women, and I have not gotten the impression that I am just the help. Yes, I am there to provide a service and to keep them comfortable, and of course the number one thing a flight attendant does, safety. But I have been thanked countless times by the men and women that I am flying, because since they are able to travel on a private jet, it saves them so much time. So they don't have to wait in security. They're able to host meetings on the plane. They can even entertain clients and wine and dine them on the airplane as well. So what I've come to realize also about not only my job, but about the passengers is travel by private jet is not always for like the flashy people who want a lit experience. The businessmen and women who I am flying definitely find value in flying private because they don't have to wait for security. Like I said, time management is just better for them. They're able to accomplish more while they are flying. It's not like you can get on a commercial plane, entertain people, have business meetings. A lot of the stuff that is discussed on the plane is also private information. I am not privy to that information because most of the galleys are closed off from passenger view. So overall, it just makes the experience for someone in a higher up business position a better experience. It definitely feels good to know that I am helping to make someone's life that much easier or make things in the background run smoothly. That's part of the reason why I make these YouTube videos, and now it's another reason why I go to work. So I'm no longer just a glorified waitress. I feel like I have more of a purpose. Another follow-up from the 6-month check-in video. Remember I told you I used to fly with 2 girls all the time and I didn't hear from them, and I thought there was like a little jealous situation kind of going on? Well, it's funny. I recorded that video, and the second I stopped recording, I heard from one of them. Not the primary girl who I always flew with. I still haven't heard from her. So it's safe to say we're not friends. But the secondary girl who I did fly a lot with, she's had a ton going on in her life. I know this, I shouldn't share what's going on with her. I just thought the timing was funny that I finished recording this video saying, I've lost a lot of friendships since I've left commercial flying and went to the corporate side. But I was able to reconnect, and I feel good about that because I really feel like we did have a strong friendship. So I'm glad there wasn't anything to repair. Life just got in the way. When you're a flight attendant, life just gets in the way in general. You're always on someone else's schedule. It's hard to make your own work. I also had touched on something that I referred to as job guilt. I still feel job guilt. A lot of my girlfriends work 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday. They take work home with them on the weekend. That is not generally something I have to do. First of all, I never have to take work home with me really, because when a flight is over, that's done. Then you start preparing for the next one, minus expense reports, because I feel like those are always just following you around everywhere. But if you kind of have a bad day on the plane, generally the bad day stays on the plane. So I do have job guilt, also because I recorded a video not that long ago called the they don't show, and I talked about the behind the scenes work and the prep that goes into getting these fancy planes ready for the people who are chartering them. And I had someone comment, oh boo hoo, you order catering, you stay in great hotels, your life is so hard, wah wah wah. Well, the purpose of making that video was to tell you guys it's more than just staying in hotels and eating fancy food. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on too. Just because my job differs in a way that's kind of glamorous from everyday work doesn't mean that I am not working. So when I'm communicating my schedule to friends or family and they're hearing I work 8 days a month generally, not this month though, I'm working 17. Kind of like a real job. But when I'm telling people I'm not flying that often, I'm only flying 8 days a month, they're like, oh my God, that's so easy. Like, what do? You probably have all the time in the world. Not always true. I have my leisure time and I appreciate that, and that's a great reason to be in this industry, but I work. And it's hard not to have the job guilt when someone only sees one dimension of what is going on, just what you're telling them. Oh, I'm flying from Monday through Wednesday, and then I'm off for 2 weeks, and then I'm flying from here to there. They're like, oh, that must be wonderful. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. So you should watch the shit they don't show, and don't judge me. I still also get job guilt in the sense that I do get to stay at fun and exciting places, and generally food is covered when we're on the road. So if my mom checks in or Johnny checks in, I want to be like, look at this view, look at this food, look at what I'm doing. But I also don't want to come across as being a braggy person. So I kind of feel like I'm more reserved when I'm on the road and not really sharing my full experiences unless they're happening here on the vlog. But in no way does my family or Johnny or my friends like make me feel guilty. I think it's just an internal thing that I struggle with because I don't want to be showy and I don't want to be braggy, and I don't know. It's just like my internal struggle. So I want to take it away from all of my bad feelings and talk about one of my good feelings. Over the past year, I feel like I have really kind of figured out how to cater the airplane. When I first started, I was constantly worried about not having enough food for every passenger, or if I had two options, that the first one would be taken right away and then the rest of the plane would be angry that they didn't have their number one choice. I feel like I've really gotten hang of ordering catering or picking up from a restaurant or doing the cooking. I have been studying food plating. I've come up with creative ways to divide meals amongst many people because I have had situations where everyone wanted one meal and no one wanted the second option that I provided. So I have ordered less and I use fun ways of garnishing, and I am proud of myself for not really having those moments of stress on the airplane where I feel like I'm just totally gonna mess up and then I end up with way too much food, which is just so wasteful. So something that I did not talk about in my 6-month check-in video was how hard it is to contract flights. Aviation is a small world and people talk, and you gotta know the people who are gonna talk about you and give you a good recommendation. Commercial flying is very competitive. I've talked about it. If you watch anyone else's vlogs or read anything about becoming a flight attendant or bagging a flight attendant job, you will see it is a very competitive field. When you move over to corporate aviation, it becomes 1,000 times harder. So in the past year, I have updated my resume. I went to the NBAA conference. I printed out cards, I handed them to everyone. I've chatted with every single pilot and told them, I am always looking for contract work, please keep me in mind. And there have not been a lot of jobs that have come out of it. It is very hard to start your career as a corporate flight attendant. Not to say I'm not working, even though it's like the 8 days a month, whatever. I still have full-time work. I'm able to support myself and my cats and Johnny, and we have a good life. But I, of course, would like to be working more. It's just really hard to break into this industry. So if it's something that you're going for, be patient, be persistent, do something else on the side so you're not spending all of your money waiting for the phone to ring for someone to hire you to work a flight. If you're watching this video in hopes that I'm going to give you tips on getting that job as a corporate flight attendant, that is coming. I am planning on filming a video like that, but I just want to touch on something really quick. Don't just make a resume if you're trying to become a corporate flight attendant. Make a portfolio. So show pictures of food that you've prepared, any sort of fancy plating, things like that. You can make like a picture book. Just a little tip. I have more details to come. One way that I have bettered myself in these past 6 6 months is I have learned how to stop eating like a total freaking animal. I think I had gained 7 pounds when I made my last vlog because it was so new and exciting having a company buy my meals on the road. As a commercial flight attendant, that doesn't happen. You are awarded a per diem from the company that I was working for. We got $1.90 from the time we checked in for a trip to the time we checked out for a trip. And that was supposed to cover our entertainment and our meals. So at the end of the month, I was flying, I don't know, like 100, 120 hours. So that would average about $500 to $600 to cover my meals on the road as a commercial flight attendant. When I became a corporate flight attendant, all of my meals were covered. So potentially in one night, me and 2 other pilots could have a $400 bill. And let me tell you, I was getting a starter, naturally a meal, and then a dessert with everything. So I put some weight on pretty quick. I feel like if you compare this video to 6 months ago, my face was probably like a whole lot fatter. But that has stopped. I am not indulging as much anymore. I'll still have dessert because I'm human, but it's not to the level that it was when I was flying 6 months ago. I've also been exercising a lot more and focusing on me and keeping myself healthy. Even though as a corporate flight attendant, I have been sick more times than I was as a commercial flight attendant, and I blame that on smaller passenger count and my immune system just kind of going down with my passenger count too. Something else that I've also really learned to enjoy that I didn't enjoy when I was a commercial flight attendant were layovers. When you fly commercially, everything is seniority based. So when you're there for a long time, you get really good layovers. When you are not there for a long time, you get what's available. You get what crew schedule tells you to work. Basically, you get no say. Here, I also really don't get a say. I am picking the trips that I want to work, kind of saying yes to everything. But the plane is gone for a lot longer on the corporate side than it is on the commercial side. So now I have new destinations because I'm not on an airline route, and I actually have time to enjoy my layovers. I'm not there for like 18 hours going through all these different time zones, trying to catch up on sleep, and just generally being exhausted. So I don't really want to jinx anything, but potentially I have a trip to somewhere in Europe, not going to jinx anything, 5 days sitting there, and if all goes well, Johnny will be joining me. So that is fun and exciting. It's almost like a paid vacation. And then in a couple of weeks, we are flying down to Boston, and then my mom is coming from New York and meeting me in Boston also. That one is a trip that's confirmed on the book. That's why I'm telling you guys about that one. So I have been able to enjoy my layovers much more now than I ever had in the past. And that's because I have time and someone else's money to pay for my food. I'm sure you can tell by the tone of this video that it would be safe to say I absolutely love my job. I definitely feel like I made the right choice leaving the commercial side, going over to the corporate side. I was really nervous about it. Obviously, change is something that makes anybody nervous, but it wasn't like I was changing airlines. I was changing my airline job completely, and I'm so glad and so grateful that it worked out, because every day I just can't believe that I get to call what I do work. So thank you guys very much for coming by my channel. Please make sure that you do subscribe. Also leave me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or concerns, post them down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you again for watching, guys. Bye.